book before bed. Tonight, we read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. A gentle reminder that you are not your thoughts, not your story, not the pain you carry. Beneath all of it, you are the quiet awareness in which your whole life is happening. So let yourself arrive here. There is nowhere else you need to be tonight. Maybe the day is still echoing inside you, a conversation you keep replaying, something you meant to say, something you wish you hadn't. And isn't that how it usually goes? All day long? We are almost never quite here. When we're washing the dishes, we're somewhere in tomorrow. When we're walking, we're rehearsing a worry. When someone we love is talking to us, part of us is already drafting the reply. We eat a meal and barely taste it. We arrive at a place and can't quite remember the journey there. We lie down at night and the body is finally still. But the mind keeps walking up and down the same worn corridors, opening the same old doors. And underneath the busyness, there is often a faint, restless feeling, a sense that this moment isn't quite enough, that real life, the good part, is somewhere else, up ahead, or back behind us, anywhere but here. There is a voice in your head, and it almost never stops. It comments, it judges, it compares, it complains. It tells you who you are and who everyone else is. And most of us have lived so long inside that voice that we've come to believe that the voice is us. But tonight, we're going to loosen that belief very gently, not by fighting the voice, just by noticing it. And in the noticing, like something in you can finally rest. This book grew out of one man's quiet collapse and the strange peace that came after it. For most of his early life, Eckhart Tolle lived under a low, grey cloud of anxiety and depression. On the surface, he was a bright young scholar, but inside, there was a heaviness that never lifted, a constant gnawing sense that something was wrong with the world and with him. And one night, not long before his 29th birthday, that heaviness reached its very bottom. He woke in the small hours, filled with a dread so total that he could no longer bear to be himself. And a single thought drifted up through the darkness. I cannot live with myself any longer. But then, he noticed something odd about that thought. If he could not live with himself, then there must be two of him, the I and the self that the I could not live with. Two, and he wondered, in a flash that changed everything, which one of them is really me? He couldn't answer it. The thinking mind simply stopped, and in the silence that opened, he felt himself pulled, as if by a current, into a deep stillness. The fear dissolved, the struggle dissolved, and what was left was a peace so vast and so alive that he had no words for it. When he woke the next morning, the room looked newborn, the light through the window, the sound of a bird, the simple fact of being alive. All of it shimmered with a quiet wonder, and that peace did not leave. It became the ground he lived from. For a long time afterward, he owned almost nothing and wanted for almost nothing. He would sit for hours on park benches in a state of quiet bliss, simply watching the world go by. People thought he had lost everything, but he had found the one thing that the striving mind can never buy. A peace that did not depend on anything happening at all. He spent years afterward simply sitting with that stillness and slowly learning to put it into words. Not to teach you anything new, he would say, but to remind you of something you already are and have only forgotten. And that is the seed of this book. So here is the question at the heart of tonight. Not a complicated one. Why, when we have so much, do we so often feel so unwell inside? We have warm homes and full shelves and a whole world in our pockets. And still, the worry, still the restlessness, still the sense that peace is somewhere up ahead, just past the next thing we're chasing. Tolle's answer is simple, and it is radical. He says the trouble is not really out there. The trouble is a single, deep mistake about who we are, a case of mistaken identity, so old and so common that we've never thought to question it. We have mistaken the voice in our heads for ourselves. And tonight, ever so softly, we begin to wake up from that mistake. So let's start with the most important idea, and let's make it very simple. You are not your thoughts. Notice that you can hear your thoughts. Right now, there is thinking happening, and there is something that is aware of the thinking. Those are not the same. The thought is like a cloud, and you are the sky it drifts across. Clouds come, clouds go, heavy grey ones, and soft, bright ones. But the sky is never harmed by them. The sky simply holds them and lets them pass. All your life, you may have believed you were the clouds. Every passing mood, every anxious story, every harsh judgment, you took it to be you. And so when the thoughts were dark, you were dark. When they raced, you couldn't rest. But you are the sky. You always were. You are the awareness in which the thinking appears. And here is the gentlest part. You don't have to stop your thoughts to know this. You only have to notice them. The moment you watch a thought, instead of being lost inside it, you have already stepped back into the sky. You are home. Think of how it feels when you first wake from a dream. For a moment, before the thinking starts, you simply are aware, present, before any story of who you are has loaded. That bare awareness is closer to the truth of you than any thought that comes after. So just for a moment now, listen for your next thought, the way you might listen for a far-off car in the night. Don't chase it. Don't push it away. Just wait and watch, and feel how, in that quiet watching, you are still here, calm, underneath it all. And notice, you can't watch a thought and be lost in it at the same time. The watching itself is the freedom. It costs no effort. It asks nothing of you. It is the most natural thing in the world, and we have simply forgotten how. Now, let's gently look at the thing that has caused so much of our suffering. Tolle gives it a small, ordinary name. He calls it the ego. Not ego as in arrogance. He means something quieter and far more common. The ego is simply the false self, the self made entirely of thought, a self you have to keep building out of ideas about who you are. See how it builds itself. It says, I am my name. I am my job. I am my opinions. I am the things I own, the way I look, the story of my past. It gathers all of this up, like someone stacking objects into their arms. And it says, this pile is me. And because it is only a pile of thoughts, it is never quite solid. So it has to keep proving it exists. It does this in two tiring ways. It wants and it complains. It is always reaching for the next thing, the next purchase, the next achievement, the next bit of approval, certain that then it will finally feel complete. And the moment it gets there, the wanting just moves on ahead again, and it loves to be right. Have you felt it? That little surge when you win an argument? That is the ego feeding. It would often rather be right than be at peace. It strengthens itself on conflict, on resentment, on the quiet story of what they did to me. And it loves a label for yourself and for everyone else. I am this kind of person, and they are that kind. It draws little lines everywhere, us and them, mine and theirs, because every line it draws seems to make its own edges a little more solid, a little more real. It even wears its troubles like a costume. My stress, my bad back, my difficult year. Have you noticed how the mind can almost grow fond of its own complaints? How it tells the story of its hardships again and again, because the story is something to be. None of this makes you a bad person. This is simply the machinery that almost every human mind runs by default. It is not a flaw in you. It is the shared inheritance of being human. And tonight, you are beginning to see the machine from the outside. And what you can see, you are no longer trapped inside. There is one more piece of this old self, and it is the heaviest one. Tolle calls it the pain body. Think of all the pain you have felt in your life that was never fully released. The old hurts, the griefs, the times you were small and afraid. Some of it you carried out of those moments, and you've been carrying it ever since. It settled in you like a sediment of old sorrow, and it does not just lie there sleeping. Now and then, it wakes. Maybe a certain tone of voice stirs it, a familiar disappointment, a particular kind of evening, and suddenly, a heaviness rises in you that is far bigger than the moment deserves. An old, familiar darkness, almost as if it has a life of its own. That is the pain body waking and feeding. It feeds on more pain. It will tug you toward the thought that hurts the most, the memory that stings, the argument that wounds, because that old sadness is what it lives on. But here is the doorway out, and it is breathtakingly simple. You do not have to fix the pain. You do not have to understand it, or win against it, or chase it away. You only have to be aware of it. The moment you feel the heaviness rising, and you say softly, inside, "Ah, there you are. I feel you." Something changes. You are no longer the pain. You are the awareness holding the pain. And awareness is light. And old pain cannot survive for long. In the light of your gentle attention, it loses its grip. It begins to dissolve. It helps to remember that the pain body is not the truth of you. It is more like an old weather pattern that passes through, or a storm that learned the shape of your sky long ago. And storms, however dark, always pass when we stop feeding them with our fear. So you don't fight it. You don't argue with it. You simply stay, the way you might sit beside a frightened child, not trying to fix anything, only being there, steady, present, until the crying softens on its own. That steady presence is the most powerful thing you have. And it is always with you, This is the heart of the whole book. Not to defeat the darkness, but to bring presence to it, to stop running from what you feel, and simply be the calm space that lets it move through. So let's gather this into a few gentle practices. Small ways to come home to yourself. You can try each one right now. As you lie here, there is nothing to get right, only something to notice. The first is to feel the inner body. Close your eyes if they aren't already, and without moving, feel the aliveness inside your hands. That faint tingling, that subtle hum of life in the palms. Now let that feeling spread up your arms, into your chest, down through your legs. This quiet aliveness is always here, underneath your thinking. And whenever you feel it, you are present, and the worried mind grows quiet. The second is to take one conscious breath, just one. Feel the air arrive, cool at the edge of your nostrils. Feel it leave, soft and warm. You are not trying to breathe in any special way. You are simply here, for the length of one breath. And one conscious breath is a tiny awakening, a small return from the noise of the mind to the peace of this moment. The third is to listen to the silence. Behind every sound in the room tonight, there is silence. The silence the sounds appear in. Listen for it now. The quiet beneath the far-off traffic, beneath the hum of the house, beneath your own thoughts. When you notice the silence outside you, you begin to feel the silence inside you too. And in that inner silence, the ego cannot live. It needs noise. It needs thinking. And here, there is only peace. The fourth is to let this moment be as it is. Whatever is happening right now, let it be allowed. The temperature of the room, the tiredness in your body, the sounds you cannot control. Stop, for tonight, the endless argument with what is. Say a silent yes to this moment, exactly as it is. This is not giving up. It is laying down a weight you were never meant to carry, and the body softens the moment you stop fighting the now. The fifth is to watch the next thought arrive. Become curious about your own mind. Wait at the edge of it, patient as someone watching the surface of a dark pond. And when a thought appears, simply see it. Ah, a thought. You don't have to follow it anywhere. Each time you watch a thought, instead of becoming it, you step back into the sky. And the more you do this, the wider and the calmer that sky becomes. And the sixth is to bring full attention to one small thing. Tomorrow, when you wake, try giving your whole self to one ordinary act. The warmth of the water on your hands, the taste of the first sip, the light coming into the room. Not thinking about it, just being with it, completely. This is how the new life begins, not in some grand future, but in one small moment, met fully, right where you are. Now, you might be wondering, if I let go of all this wanting and striving, how will I ever do anything? How will I work, or plan, or grow, if I just let everything be? It's a fair worry. And Tolle answers it kindly. He says you do not lose your life when you let go of the ego. You finally get to live it. He draws a soft line between two kinds of purpose. There is your outer purpose, the things you do in the world, your work, your goals, the projects of your days. And there is your inner purpose, which is simply to be present, to bring awareness to whatever you are doing. And here is the secret. The inner purpose comes first. When you are present, your outer work doesn't fall apart. It comes alive. You still set the goal. You still walk toward it, but you are no longer at war with each step along the way. You stop needing the future to arrive in order to be at peace now. So you can still build the life you long for. You can still care, still create, still love fiercely. You simply do it from stillness instead of from fear. And the strange thing is, work done from that quiet place is so often better, lighter, clearer, more yours. Think of the difference between two people doing the very same task. One is tense, resentful, already wishing it were finished, their mind 100 miles away. The other is simply there, doing the thing with care, present to their own hands. The work may look the same from outside, but one life is suffering, and the other is at peace. The task did not change, only the presence behind it. You were never asked to stop living, only to stop sleepwalking through your one and only life. And so, we come to the deepest question of all. If you are not your thoughts, and not your ego, and not your old pain, then who? Are you really? Tonight, you don't need an answer in words. You only need to feel, for a moment, the space. Notice the space in this room, the quiet, open emptiness that the furniture sits in. Without that space, nothing could be here. And there is a space like that, inside you too, behind your thoughts. There is a stillness behind your feelings, an awareness, a silent, open presence that has been here your whole life. It was here when you were a small child. It is here now. It does not age. It does not worry. It simply is awake, aware, at peace. That is who you are. Not the busy voice, not the anxious story, but the vast, calm awareness in which all of it comes and goes. And this is what Tolle means by a new earth. He is not only dreaming of a kinder world out there, though that too. He means a new way of being that begins inside one quiet person, in one quiet moment, exactly like this one, when even one of us stops feeding the old pain and rests in presence. Something shifts. A little more peace enters the world, and it can begin tonight with you. For you are not separate from life, looking out at it, afraid. You are life itself, briefly awake and aware of its own quiet wonder. The same stillness in you is the stillness in the night sky outside. There is no edge where you end, and the peace of the world begins. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to become this. You don't have to earn it, or build it, or wait for it. It is already what you are, right now, underneath everything you've been carrying. The clouds were only ever passing through. The sky was always here. All the awakening asks of you is to notice the sky and rest there a little more often, a little more gently, each day. So let this settle into how you live, in the smallest ways, in the people you love. Try to meet them without the old story of who they are. Just for a breath. See them new. In your work, bring your whole quiet attention to the task in front of you, and let the rest go. And when the pain rises, as it will, don't run. Turn toward it, gently, and say, I feel you, and I am still here. And you don't have to change your whole life to live this way. You don't have to leave your work, or your home, or anyone you love. The new earth doesn't begin with grand gestures. It begins in the small spaces of an ordinary day, waiting in a queue. Instead of reaching for your phone, you take one quiet breath and feel your feet on the ground. Washing a cup, you feel the warm water and let your mind grow still. These tiny moments are not nothing, they are everything. They are how a single human life quietly wakes up. You will forget all of this, of course. You'll be swept back into the noise 100 times tomorrow. And that's all right. Don't blame yourself. The waking up and the falling back asleep are both part of it. Awakening isn't a finish line. It is simply this: remembering to come back again and again and again. And every time you remember, even for a single breath, you are already home. Now, let's set the book down completely. You don't need to hold a single idea from tonight. Let them all drift away like clouds. Let your attention come back to your breath, not changing it, just feeling it. The slow rise, the slow fall. Feel the weight of your body now, held completely by the bed beneath you. You don't have to hold yourself up anymore. The bed is holding you. The earth is holding the bed. And you can let go of every last bit of effort. Feel the warmth of the blanket, the soft dark of the room, perhaps the moon, somewhere beyond the window, keeping its quiet watch over the sleeping world. Let your thoughts grow slower now, further apart, like the last few lights going out in houses across a valley, one by one. You don't have to follow any of them anymore. Let each one drift off into the dark and dissolve, and rest your attention softly in the body, the faint warmth in your hands, the slow tide of the breath, the gentle weight of you sinking a little deeper into the bed with every breath out. And feel, underneath all of it, that silent presence that you are, awake, aware, and utterly at peace. There is no past to carry now, no future to reach for. There is only this, only here, only now. And it is enough. You are enough, exactly as you are. Good night. Thank you for being here with me tonight. May you rest in the quiet of this moment and find your way back to the peace inside you. I'll see you with the next book.